Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club. And I'm thankful for these 1800 seconds that we are about to spend together. It's Tuesday, the 14th of November. The week is moving along. The month is moving along. The year is moving along. In a minute, it'll be Thanksgiving. And then in a couple of minutes, it'll be Christmas and then New Year. And we'll be in 2024, God willing. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful about it. I'm thankful that we get a chance to have these conversations as we are leaving out of one year and hopefully and prayerfully going into another year. I hope that this has been a good year. I've enjoyed spending this year with you all. I hope you've enjoyed spending it with me as well. This channel, for people who are stopping by for the first time, it's about inspiration, motivation, and it's about making sure that we're challenging ourselves to show up better today than we did yesterday. It doesn't mean that yesterday was a failure, a flop. And we are also intentional and deliberate about trying to show up better tomorrow than we did today. It just means that we're focused on evolving, focused on becoming our best selves, focused on riding with the dynamics of life and making sure that our responses are conducive to our character, because we always want to present our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Life has a way of giving you so many opportunities to show up your best self. Every single day, I have an opportunity to sharpen my character, to sharpen my integrity. And we talk about those things, and I enjoy those conversations that we have on these Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you haven't done so, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe. After you subscribe, then you can go ahead and click on the notification bell. I don't know if it's down there, up there, over there, but wherever it is on your particular device, go ahead and subscribe, because after you subscribe, you will know whenever I've gone live and whenever I've uploaded new content. Now, do me a favor, tell somebody, come on, let's talk to Cutler. We like to talk about things that are real issues, real people, real life, real world situations. I sometimes pull out of my experiences of a particular day. Sometimes I'll talk about the things that that captured my attention, because I'm thinking, if something like this captured my attention, something could very well capture your attention. So let me just share the things that come about in day-to-day conversations and day-to-day just showing up and day-to-day just being who and where you are and how you are and when you are in whatever time and space you find yourself. Things show up. Things happen. And so I want to say thank you all so much for showing up and being here with me. We're going to make sure that these 1800 seconds are meaningful. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm not trying to waste anybody's time. In just a moment, I'm going to shout out the LTTC VIPs. Those are the people who hop in the chat first. The people on my end. Let me just say this. Those are the people from my perspective that I see who hopped into the chat room first. I know sometimes people will say, oh, Cutler, you missed me. I was in the chat room first. I'm just going by what I see on my end, you all. So let's just ride with that. So let me just say to you, those of you who are over, you haven't come into the chat room, come on in and say hi. I want to see you. I want to know that you're here. And I love how we come into the chat and we just say hi to everybody. We bid a good evening and a fond hello to the other Let's Talk Cutler members who are in the chat. You know, some time ago when I started doing this, I would say bring a glass of tea, a glass of lemonade, bring your favorite beverage, bring a snack, make sure that you bring enough for everybody else, because this is our time that we share together. I want to shout out the LTTC VIPs who are Annie Cutler, Linda Martin, and Nikki News. Good evening to all of you. I'm so thankful and so glad that you all decided to let me into whatever space you've allowed me to come. I want to talk about this evening. I want us to take a moment and be kind. Let me tell you where that conversation comes from. Of course, I ran upstairs and I put on my human kind, be both. Human and kind, be both, because we're going to talk about, you know, let's take a moment to be kind. Where did this conversation come from? A couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege of having a co-host, my 12-year-old cousin, and I said to him, if you could give any kind of advice to people in general, you know, there are people of different ages who watch this broadcast, who tune in. And I said to my younger 12-year-old cousin, if you could express the importance of being kind or tell people why it is important to be kind, what would you say? This 12-year-old said, it is important to be kind because you never know what people are going through. You don't know what people are dealing with in the privacy and the secrecy of their homes, when they walk, when they go home and they get behind closed doors. They come outside to go to work, to go to church, to go to school, or to show up in public. But then when they go home, he said, you never know what people are experiencing. This is a 12-year-old, you all, who said this to me, who said this to us. And I thought, that really pierced me. So to my cousin Stephen Jr., thank you so much for being my co-host a couple of weeks ago. And thank you for the wisdom that you shared with us. It is amazing that the 12-year-old said, you never know what people are going through. And you don't want to make anybody's day worse for not being kind. And I thought, wow, how fortunate my family is, how blessed we are to have young minds like that who really think about being human and kind. Or human and kind. My t-shirt was, I have to get used to which way it is here. But I was really moved by that, you all, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me so much so until I was reading one of my books earlier today, just reading a few quotes. And if you don't have it, I didn't intend to do this, but this is Billboards to Better, 366 daily sources of motivation and inspiration along the highway of life. There's a daily quote for each day, a quote sometimes with an allegory to just help you focus on just making it through the day. Get it if you want it. If you don't have it, it's available on Amazon. Get it, share it with your friends, and talk about it. But the goal is to share some motivation and to share some inspiration each day. So as you start your day, or in the middle of the day, at the peak of your day, at the conclusion of your day, there's a thought there's a saying to make you just think, okay. It's a conversation point for you to meditate. It's a conversation point for you to share with someone else. So take those and use them however you would like. But one of the quotes in my book says, how high you lift others today, how high you lift others today could very well determine how high you soar tomorrow. I'm a firm believer that what you do to others, the good that you do to others, will come back. But may I also say the bad that you do to others will also come back. There is this principle of reaping, sowing and reaping, that what you reap, you sow. What goes around comes around. I mean, we say it all different kinds of ways. You reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. Buddhists and Hindu even have this saying known as karma. A lot of times we use the word karma, not even realize that it's really is a term that is specific to Hindu practices, but the concept is similar. The concept in some ways is very similar to the whole notion of reaping and so on. But may I tell you, you do reap what you sow. You reap what you sow, and it is a wonderful thing to sow kindness, because when you sow kindness, you really will reap kindness. I'm wondering how many of us on a scale of 1 to 10, and you all don't even have to, you don't have to do this, you really don't, but I'm just thinking about on a scale of 1 to 10, how would we rank ourselves in the kindness category? How would you rank yourself in the kindness category if 1 is poor and 10 is excellent? How would you rank yourself in the kindness categories? Now, unless you just want to, you don't have to put that out there. You don't have to put it in the chat. But if you want to put it out there for the sake of conversation, then fine. Be my guest. Go ahead and do that. But I think it's so important for us to focus on being kind. You know, this time of year, I've talked about several different topics and several things, and how we look at people, how we evaluate friendships, all those sorts of things. But nothing strikes me more important than being kind. Nothing strikes me more important than being kind, because people become depressed this time of year. People start reflecting on life and thinking that life has not been great to them. Life has not been fair to them. Life has not been fun to them. And people are going through so many things. So many of us, we set goals for particular time frames. We want X, Y, and Z by the end of the year. Now we're in the 11th month of the year, and X, Y, nor Z has manifested in our lives. We become depressed. We become discouraged. People are dealing with all kinds of things. So may I remind you that how high you lift others today may determine how high you soar tomorrow. Let's learn how to be kind. Let's learn how to be both. As a matter of fact, let's learn how to be human and kind. They're not mutually exclusive. You can be both. What do you mean, Cutler? We can be both. Can we not be both? We have to be human because we're human. Yes, you can be human. You can be a human being, but that does not mean that sometimes we don't treat people with civility and kindness. So I want to talk about that. Some people are just nasty for the sake of being nasty. They're nasty because they don't want to be kind. They find kindness as some kind of weakness or some kind of flaw, so some kind of deficiency. But may I tell you that kindness is a strength. Kindness is a value. Kindness is this wonderful commodity. It really is. It's just nice to be nice. It's kind to be kind, and it's good to be good. Nice to be nice, kind to be kind, and good to be good. So I'm wondering, as we would rank ourselves, how do we rate or rank ourselves on the kindness scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not so kind or not so nice, and 10 being exceptionally nice or kind? I want to talk about that, because I want us to evaluate you all. I've often said that this channel, this platform, is about inspiration. It is about motivation. And it is also about challenging ourselves to show up the best version of ourselves, even in the worst of situations. Sometimes people are just not kind. Sometimes people practice. It is second nature. Sometimes people get this kind of high from being nasty, from being rude, from being disrespectful. But I want us to practice kindness. I want us to get in our hearts. I want us to get it in our minds. I want us to raise the next generation of people to be kind. Sometimes people have worked so hard at being nasty until they don't even know how to be kind. Sometimes people have worked so difficult, so they have worked so rigidly at being contrary until they don't even know how to be agreeable. Sometimes people have worked so diligently at being argumentative until they don't even know how to be peaceful. But let's take a moment out and be kind. And let's teach others, let's show others, let's model for others what it looks like to show up as a kind person. We got a couple months to do this. We got a couple months to get it right. We have a couple months to show other people how to do it, a couple months to show other people how to get it right, because people are looking at us. People are looking at you, and show them what it looks like to be kind. Be kind. Kindness is one of those things that when you do it, you derive so many benefits. Physically, you're better. Emotionally, you're better. Mentally, you're better. Spiritually, you are better. There's so many benefits just from being kind. But have you seen people, and you all don't have to put it in the chats, and if you put it in the chat, please don't put names. Have you seen people who just don't know how to be kind? They just seem uncomfortable being kind. They are allergic to being kind. They are allergic to being nice. They just look awkward when they are nice. But I can tell you how to be kind. You can start by being kind to other people. I'm not even starting with yourself right now, but I'm saying just other people. Just start being kind to other people. Oh yes, we find it easy to be kind to the people that we know. But what about the people that we don't know? What about being kind to somebody new? Because as my 12-year-old cousin reminded me, we never know what other people are dealing with. We never know what other people are going through. We never know what chaos or what trauma or what drama they are dealing with. And in the lives of some people, you all, kindness goes a long way. And it does not have to include extravagant gifts. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It does not have to include these dramatic gestures. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It does not have to include these lofty ways of doing things. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But simply being polite, simply using a warm tone when you speak to people, simply giving a smile when you see them, simply showing patience in some venues and in some settings to somebody that you don't know, that could be enough to get them through the day. We don't know what people are going through. We don't. We don't know what people are going through. So let's take a moment to be kind. What if you were in a supermarket? You had just gotten home from work, or you were on your way home from work, and you were in the local supermarket. You were tired. Everybody else is tired. You're frustrated. You're trying to get food so you can go home and prepare dinner. And then you get to the cash register. And there's a whole line for 8, 9, 10 people, and only 2 cashiers are there. You're frustrated. Everybody else is frustrated. And in those situations, now here I'm challenging us because, again, I said one of the things we want to do is be deliberate about. We want to be intentional and deliberate about showing up better tomorrow than we did today, because maybe this is some of our stories today. Maybe some of us were in the supermarket. Maybe some of us were in annoying situations. Maybe some of us were in frustrated situations. But here's a chance to repeat and get it right. Because it can be easy to let your annoyance rise to the surface. It can be easy to let your discomfort or your frustration rise to the surface. But what about being patient in an impatient situation or an impatient situation? What about smiling when you really feel like being disgusted and frowning? What about doing all of that? What about showing some courtesy to the other customers who are standing in line? That's just being kind. That's just being nice. So no, it does not require some grand gesture. Just a nice smile, just a display or an execution of patience. It can go a long way. That's one way to be kind, to be nice. Be nice to other people. Can I also tell you to be kind to loved ones and family members? Because that part, well, Cutler, I got that down. I got that down, Pat. I'm okay with that. I believe you. I believe some of us, because giving your time and support and your resources to help people that you know comes easy. That comes natural. When you already love them, that seems like a normal thing. Because these are family members, Cutler. After all, I know them. I'm good with them. And if that is your story, if that is your testimony, I think that's absolutely wonderful. But here's what I know. I know that there's so many times, despite the fact that people are family members, despite the fact that they are loved ones, can I tell you that sometimes we take these relationships for granted because we assume that certain people are always going to be present in our lives. And we assume that they should know how much we love them. We assume that they should know how much we care for them. We assume that they should know, oh yeah, if your back is against the wall, I'll look out for you. We assume so many things. But if you're really looking to show kindness and compassion and love and just show and manifest this whole notion of being nice, if you really want to do that, let's not take the people in our lives for granted. I know I often say, let's do an inventory of the people in our lives to make sure that we can just sort of scrub the list. I know I say that all the time, but if people are going to be in your life, then don't take them for granted. Don't take them for granted. There are people who have aging parents who feel lonely. But because they have been independent and strong, we sometimes miss out on the cues and the subtle hints when we see that they're aging and they may need us to spend a little more time with them. So being kind to them can look different. It can just be a matter of spending time. It can be a matter of picking up the phone, calling them, picking up the phone, calling them, picking up the phone, calling them. I'm specifically saying picking up the phone, calling them rather than texting or emailing, picking up the phone to calling them if you can't get by to see them. And doing it more frequently and more often. Sometimes it can be as simple as making their favorite dish or making some food that you know that they will enjoy and taking it by and spending time with them, maybe having dinner with them. So it's one thing when we're just talking about being kind to people who just being kind to another people and maybe some people that we don't know. This really turns on being kind to our loved ones and our family members and not take them for granted. That is one way that you can show some kindness. Make sure that you don't take people for granted. And then, of course, yes, you can show kindness by being kind to yourself as well. I didn't want to start with that one. I wanted to start with other people. I wanted to start with family members because there are people that we sometimes take for granted. So I didn't want to start. Of course, you all know I'm a big proponent of self-love and all of that, but I didn't want to start with that first. I wanted to start with how we treat other people. I wanted to start with how we treat the people who show up in our lives because that is the mark of kindness. That is the test of my character. That is the test of my integrity. The test of my character and integrity is not necessarily how I treat myself, but it's how I treat others. It's important to me. Let me put my glasses on and read because I almost got lost in that. Did you all see how passionate I was about that? I almost got lost in that because it is important to me to treat people right. People are the greatest resources that you will ever have in your life. It's important to me to do right by people. Tracy says, that happened to me the other day at the store. I just talked to people in line and had patience and they opened other lines up. That is a wonderful thing. And that helped to pass time because there you were showing kindness, you were showing patience, and you were helping to temper the moment. What could have been a frustrating moment? What could have been a moment filled with anxiety? What could have been a moment filled with stress and tension? But just by executing and exhibiting patience, you made somebody's day. I know you did. So with all of that, also learn to be kind to yourself. Treat yourself nice, treat yourself fair, treat yourself good. Go out and do some things for yourself from time to time. Be intentional about what you say about yourself. Be intentional with what you think about yourself when you look in the mirror. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself as though yourself I know it sounds wrong, but treat yourself as though you are one of your friends and treat yourself like that. Give yourself some self-affirmations to validate your wonderful qualities, to validate your strength, to validate your inner beauty. Do all of that. But let's learn to be kind to others, be kind to our family members, be kind to ourselves. I don't know how to do it. Let me just talk as we conclude this, or at least as we go into the concluding moments of this conversation. Let's talk about some ways, and I need you all to put it in the chat. Start talking to me. What are some ways that we can be kind? You all mention it, and I'll pick it up and we'll talk about it. What are some ways that we can be kind? We see that we can demonstrate patience. What about just giving a warm smile to a stranger? Not just a stranger. What about giving a warm smile to yourself? Walking past the mirror and smiling because you say there's something beautiful in that reflection. You have to say this. You have to say this. Walk past a mirror every now and then and say there's something beautiful in that reflection. And then you have to say it is beyond the physicality. It might be in the physicality, yes, but you've got to say there's something beautiful in that reflection. There's something valuable in the person standing in the mirror. Learn how to be kind to yourself. So learn how to give a warm smile to other people, but also learn how to give yourself a smile. Learn how to hold the door for people from time to time. When people are walking behind you, that is a big pet peeve of mine. Your talks have helped me to remember I'm important and it's okay to treat myself. Juanita, it is. You are important and it is okay to treat yourself. If I'm kind to others, I can be kind to myself as well. That is the absolute truth, because sometimes we spend so much energy treating other people like kings and queens, and we treat ourselves like dogs and cats. We do. We get so caught up sometimes in treating everybody else like royalty. And we treat ourselves like indentured servants. But there's so many ways we can be kind to ourselves, and I'll share that. And now there's so many ways that we can be kind to each other. You all talk to me in the chat. What are some ways that we can just be kind? Be there to listen. Listen to someone who could use a friend. I'm just tossing these out. Be okay with complimenting people. Be comfortable enough in your skin to compliment people and say what you like, say what you appreciate, say what you think is beautiful, say what you think is complimentary, say what you think is warm and kind and considerate. I didn't say go over the edge flirting with people, trying to hit on people. I'm not suggesting that at all, but I'm just saying learn how to genuinely give compliments to people. That's one way to be kind. The other day, I saw some trash blowing across the yard, and I walked outside and picked it up. Now, it was not my trash. It wasn't blowing because I put it out there, but it was blowing across the yard, and it blew across the street. And guess what? I walked right across the street and picked it up. It was not my trash. That's one way of being kind. Pick up trash, even if it's not yours. And another thing, another thing cracks me up. And another thing, you all, not only pick up trash, even if you know it's not yours. Don't litter. People can't ride in the car with me and roll down the window and throw out trash. You can't do that. I make myself feel good when I smile at me. Yvonne Jones, and you ought to smile at yourself all the time. I was making copies at work, and I allowed 3 coworkers to use my account to make copies while I was doing so. Just, Marissa, just those small things. Absolutely. You all talk to me. Just different ways that we can be kind to ourselves and kind to others. I send texts to friends and family I haven't heard from for a long time just to say hi and ask how they are doing. It always generates great responses. Marlon, absolutely, because you allow people to know that they matter. It helps people to know that they matter. And we have to remind people, you matter. If you don't matter to anybody else but me, that's kindness. Send a text. Hey, I was thinking about you. How are you doing? How have you been? Give them a chance sometimes to just unload. It's okay to listen. What about, and this is something that I learned as a little boy. I learned this. I could be in the supermarket, and if somebody drops something, guess what? I'd pick it up and say, excuse me, you dropped this, you dropped something. And of course, some of you all know that I'm tall. So if I'm in the supermarket and I see someone reaching for something, I'll say, let me get that with you. Hug kids back when they hug me. Yes. The gift of touch. I shared a new tea with my coworker and he liked it. I bought a box of that tea and put it in his tea drawer. I mean, thank you, Juanita. Just random acts of kindness. Come on, you all, kindness. Come on, you all, talk to me. Offer if well, I don't know what we're doing nowadays because many of us are teleworking and working a remote status, but I wasn't necessarily a fan of public transportation, and I'm still not. But I know a couple of times when I've been on public transportation, I would offer my seat to someone who needed it. That's kindness. That's niceness. There have been times when people outside of a restaurant would ask me for stuff, and this is just not about me. I'm just offering these as suggestions. Buy food for people who are asking for money outside of a restaurant. Sometimes we're cautious and we're wary, and we say, I don't know what they're going to use the money for. I don't know if they're going to use the money for drugs, but I will stop and say, "Are you hungry? Oh, you're hungry? Let's go in here. I'll get you whatever you want." I don't know if we do things like this anymore. Walking past a parking meter, and you see, or you just park your car and you see that the car behind you, that meter is getting ready to run out. I know we have Park Mobile and all these sorts of things now and apps on our phone, but back in the day when these parking meters would just they would just they would function only by putting coins in them. Back in the day, people would randomly just drop a nickel or a dime or a quarter in your parking meter. People don't do that nowadays. An older woman asked me to help her sign in at a kiosk at a doctor's office. Because Linda, I think about that all the time. Sometimes when I go into these places and they say, "Oh, please sign in. Please go right there and sign in." And I think about these electronic devices and I say, "Oh my goodness, my mother, my grandmother would just have a fit trying to sign in with these electronic things." My mother, of course, is better. But I think about my grandmother's age and think about people who would try to sign in on those things. And I think, oh no, why would you all just throw people in the depth of technology when they really don't even understand this stuff? So helping someone with something as simple as that, because otherwise they feel like the world has left them behind. They feel like they no longer matter in the world because the world has advanced and the world has all of these things going on, and they don't care about me and how I show up and how I be. It matters. It matters. I want to make sure I help somebody else realize that they matter today. I got to go, y'all. I want to make sure I help somebody else realize that they matter today so that tomorrow somebody will remind me that I matter. I've got to get out of here. Let's be kind to people. Let's remind somebody that they matter today so that when our tomorrow comes, somebody will remind us that we matter. Be kind. Let's take a moment and be kind. We're going into this holiday season. Don't get manipulated. Don't get taken advantage of. No, not at all. But let's be kind. I got to go, you all. Thank you for sharing this time and space with me. Thank you for allowing me to come into whatever venue you've allowed me to come in this evening. Thank you so very much. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's stay safe and stay sane. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up. I may even come back and continue this list of just how to be kind. I may just do how to be kind part 2. I was at a red light. I saw a man with a pet, and I made a donation for him to get food. Let's do what we do, you all. Tell somebody, come on, let's talk the color. I'll see you all Thursday. Show up here, meet me here. Let's spend these 1,800 seconds together. Know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Until the next time I see you, I will see you. Good night, everybody. Thank you all for an amazing dialogue this evening.